Hello, this is Jill from Paper Daisy Crafting. Thank you for joining me today. This is our project today. This was a card I made for a recent blog hop. The theme was girls and boys, and so this was my card to be appropriate for a girl or a boy, really. I thought a children's card. I've used the Bonanza Buddies set, which is this set here. Really pretty. I love it. I loved it when it came out in the catalogue. I've still yet to use these parcels, so I'm looking forward to making something with that. Some presents. This one could be used as a candle. Lots of options for this set, and these cute creatures are really lovely. And anyway, I used the koala for my card today with his bunch of balloons, and then there's a bit of a surprise when you go inside the card. There we go. Can you see? It's a little pop-up card with 3 little koalas wishing you happy birthday. So I'm going to show you how to make it. Very, very easy. Not as tricky as it might seem. So what do we need? We need a Bermuda Bay base, my usual size, which is 21 by 14.5 centimetres or 8 1/4 by 5 3/4. And then you need to score at either 10.5 centimetres or 4 1/8. So we're going to go there. I'm working in centimetres, so might slightly be out for the imperial measurements, but it will work. I'll show you. Right, so got that scored, and need my bone folder. There we go. So that's our card base. Now if I bring in the original, you can see what I've got is a panel of DSP. The DSP, which is this one, I'm doing this card exactly the same as I did that one. The DSP measures, oh sorry, my book's upside down. DSP measures 13.5 by 9.5 or 5 1/4 by 3 5/8 if you want to work in imperial. So I'm going to bring in my little mini cutter here, I think, actually. And I am going to, not that way first. So this way on, it's 9.5. So it's it's going to be 1/2 centimetre all the way round. This border is going to measure 1/2 centimetre or 1/4 inch. So 9.5. Let's make sure that's straight. You can line it up down here as well as up there. So you can. So 9.5. by 13.5. Oh, that won't do it on that trimmer. Not long enough to do it on that one. So I'll bring in my other trimmer. Bring my other trimmer back in. I use these so much, these trimmers. Love, love, love them. This is only, I'm going to trim a little bit off here. It's not, I don't need it quite as long as the pack. These are 6 by, oh actually no, I don't think they are 6 by 6. I was thinking I've only got them in 6 by 6, but I think that's because I did a paper share. So I think they are full-size papers, 12 by 12. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to mount our DSP onto our card base, which I am going to do with a little bit of Tombow. Oh, it's got that lovely, lovely presents paper on the back. I am going to use that one day as well. I also love this colour scheme that they've used with Bonanza Buddies. It is Grapefruit Grove. I think it's Mango Melody as well, although I'm not using that colour today. Daffodil Yellow and Bermuda Bay. Really lovely combination of colours. There we go. So a little bit of Tombow. Place that centrally in our card with the borders all being the same. Like so. Then I have taken a piece of Whisper White, which has been cut with one of the dies from the Stitch So Sweetly die set. This is a lovely die set. I've used these lots. I've used these lots as well. Really worth the money. They're really lovely, useful dies. And I'm using the biggest one, and it's going to cut out. I've already die cut it, but you can see it cut out the white there. Okay, so what I then need to do is I need to stamp my little koala, and I'm using slate grey, smoky slate, sorry, for him. I bring him in. I want to get this roughly in the same place as that koala, because that spacing seemed to work okay. So roughly, move up a bit about here. I'll try and get him straight. He's not quite straight on my other card, so I'm try and get him straight. There we go. And then what you need to do is to take this little stamp from the die set, which is this one, this little one, which will put his facial features in. So you need to do that in Memento Black. So here we go. Memento Black. And what I found was if you try to line up the top of the nose, it tends to mean that everything else lines up. So I'm sorry if you're getting a little bit of my head in here. I need to be right over it. Line up the nose. And hopefully, there we go. That's quite good. That's fine. We're going to use that again in a minute to do some others. Okay, right. And then we need to Memento Black again. Didn't need to put that away. Okay, and we're going to give him a string of balloons that are going to go here. He's going to be holding on to some balloons, like so. I'm going to use Memento Black again. So it's got to be in his hand there. There we go. And then we have got another little bit of stamping to do the happy birthday. All these stamps are from the Bonanza Buddy. So this happy birthday is a really nice happy birthday. And again, I've used this a lot. A little bit of die cut there. Right, so let's put that up there. And then to do his balloons, I've used those three colours that I said, Daffodil Yellow, Grapefruit Grove and Bermuda Bay, and I've stamped them, and I've also die cut them out already with the round die from this set. So here's the die set. So I have used the round, this one, to die cut the balloons. And I might need a dimensional. If I can find my dimensional. What I've done with my tweezers. Let me have a little look for my tweezers. Just talk amongst yourselves while I look for my tweezers. No, they're not in there. What have I done with them? Ah, there they are, hiding. Right, here we go. So we're going to place the turquoise one on the card with the Tombow. And then we're going to raise the other two up on dimensional so that you get them over, you can have them overlapping. So just one little dimensional on the back of each of these will do it. Doesn't need much. There we go. Put them out of the way. There we go. Right, I don't know how you're all getting on with all this coronavirus stuff. It's getting to frenzy point in the UK. I'm just beginning to think that I'm going to have to batten down the hatches and just stay in. Unfortunately, I'm in the at-risk category for two reasons. I'm over 60, so the UK government is telling us that over 60s need to be ultra careful because they're at risk, but also for health reasons, those with an underlying health condition. So a bit scary for people like me. Right, there we are. But I have got my crafting to keep me sane, which I'm always thankful about. So that's going to mount on there. So, and this just on its own would make a really lovely card. You didn't have to do the inside like I have, but if you wanted to, you can make this lovely pop-up card. So that's the outside of our card done. What we're now going to do is do the inside. So to do the inside, we need a piece of Whisper White that's going to fit just inside there. So here's my Whisper White, and it needs to be, 20 by 14 centimetres or 5.5 by 8 inches. So once again, bring my trimmer in, and it needs to be, what did I say, 14 by 20. So that's not a straight edge, there's a straight edge. There we go, 14 by 20. I have to bring my arm out for that. Put that there. And again, we need to score that at 10. We need to score that in half, so it's going to be at 10 because it's only 20 centimetres. It needs to be scored halfway. Oh, wait a minute. Like so. So this is the interior for our card. Like so. We're going to do all the work on here apart from sticking on the koalas. But before we start. So what we're going to do, so this fits inside our card like this. There we go. Okay, but of course we've got to do the pop-up element and some stamping first. So in order to do the pop-up element, you need to measure. We're going to measure along here, and we're going to mark at 2.5, 3.5, 6.5, 7.5, 10.5, 11.5, and that's in centimetres. So we are marking at 2.5. Oh no, that's not 2.5, that's 1.5. Let's try that again. So I always use these pencils because they've got a really nice eraser on the top, so it's really easy. 2.5 and 3.5, 6.5 and 7.5, 10.5 and 11.5. And then I'm just going to measure down about 2.5 centimetres. And draw a very slight line along there so I know how far to cut in. Okay, then what I'm going to do is just to take my scissors and cut where each of the marks is down to the line. There, 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 there. I think I'm using thicker cardstock here. You probably don't need it. Probably needs to be the thinner. It's quite hard to cut through two thick bits. And then these you need to bend over and bend them on that fold because they need to be able to bend. So just bend them on the fold up to where you've cut them. And you don't need to worry about the pencil lines because they'll be inside. So try and keep them straight. Very easy to bend them. There we go. Right, so what happens is, open, these can pop out, that goes back there, and there's the mechanism for your pop-up. So that's all done. The last thing we're going to do is stick the koala bears on. We're going to do a bit of decorating first. So I'm going to take the little pom-pom die, which is really for the hats. Let me show you. Little pom-pom for the hats of the koalas, but I'm going to use it as a background. I used it here as the background for my card. So I'm going to take the three colours that we've used. So I'm going to take Bermuda Bay first of all, and I'm just going to randomly stamp that all over. So just be aware you don't want to rock your stamp and get ink on the edges, but just got on my finger. There we go. So this is quite fun, just doing this. This is quite easy random stamping. There we go, another one there. One more over here. That's enough of my Bermuda Bay. And I'm then going to come in with Grapefruit Grove. If I can get the lid off, there we go. Don't forget to clean your stamp in between. So I have got one of our Simply Chamois here, which is in a stamp case, which keeps it nice and moist. I just run it under the tap a few times, and that's cleaned that. Just get any water off it. And then we're going to do the same with Grapefruit Grove. Just random stamping, leaving a little bit of space to add in some daffodil yellow ones in a minute. So you don't need to be terribly careful about where you're stamping. This will more or less look all right wherever you stamp, really. There we go. You can always come back in. If you haven't done quite enough, you could always come back with that colour. Wipe the stamp again, and then daffodil yellow. There we go. Some of you might notice this is a longer video than normal because I've got my new stand, so I'm able to video on my phone. Those of you who've been watching my videos for a long time know that I had a problem with my camera, that it would only let me film 16 minutes or so because it was a camera, not a camcorder. And I've now alleviated that problem. Right, I might put another one there, another one there. gets quite busy. I think I'm going to stop. Maybe another one just going off there. Right, there we go. Right, that's all that stamping done. The next thing you need to do is we're going to put a strip of DSP along here. So, oh, that's not the strip. There it is. So I've got a strip of DSP which measures 2.5 centimetres by 15. So it's a bit longer than our panel, but we're going to trim that off. So coming in again with the Tombow. Like so. And then just going to put a happy birthday message. Same happy birthday stamp, still in Bermuda Bay. We're going to stamp that message again in the middle of the card. And then this is all ready to be stuck inside the blank that we made. Oh, lovely. There we go. Oh, love it when a plan comes together. There we go. Right, so I'm just going to trim off these ends. So those of you who've watched me for a long time know that I always make things too long and then trim them off so you get a nice crisp edge that absolutely flush. Makes it look a bit more professional. There we go. And now this is going to stick inside our cover, if I could find it. What have I done with it? Oh, there it is. Couldn't see it for looking. There we go. And that's just going to sit inside there. So, bit of Tombow again. Try and get the edges and try and get all the bit round the mechanism as well. And on this side. And then when you put it in, you need to just make sure you've got it the right way up with the so that the happy birthday is going to be the right way up inside your blank. So you've got that. So here's my blank. There, that needs to go that way. So I'm going to put that in. So match up the hinge, first of all, the spine. Make sure you've got equal distance on both sides. And then place it down. Because you've got Tombow, you'll have a little bit of movement. And then shut it so that you know that it is going to shut properly. And that you've got it there. So there, that's it. Now, to just finish off, we need to do the koalas. I've stamped and die cut 3 koalas. First thing I need to do is stamp their little faces. So again, coming in with Memento. And again, lining up the top of the nose, if you can, with the white space that's there, like so. It is possible to make this little koala look quite boss-eyed. Believe me, I have tried. I've not tried, I have succeeded. Not by trying, not something I wanted to do. There we go. There we go. And then we need to add 3 little hats which have been stamped with the little triangle stamp here. And then I've actually hand cut these. There is a die to cut them out, but it's so flipping fiddly. I just hand cut them. It's very easy to do. And then you just need a little bit of Tombow on the, I might put it on the edge of the koalas. Just a little bit of Tombow. Oh, a bit too much there. There we go. And just stick a hat on each one of them. Again, I've done 1 in each colour. So there we go. Didn't need to put that Tombow on the hat. I forgot I put it on the koala, even though I'd only just done it, honestly, my memory. Right, and then we've got 3 little pom-poms, which again I've stamped with the little pom-pom that we used to do the background. And then I've die cut with the, I have used a die cut. You could fussy cut these, but the die cut just gives you a bit of a wiggly edge. So it just looks a bit more realistic. Quite fiddly to do though. So if you were doing loads, you might just want to. So again, I'm going to put the glue on the end of these hats so that it goes exactly where I want. You just need a little dob of glue, not very much. Don't overuse it. It will be enough to hold it. Right, so I'm going to put Bermuda Bay on yellow, orange on Bermuda Bay, and yellow on Grapefruit Grove. There we go. And then all that's left to do is to put a little bit of glue on each of these pop-ups and stick your koalas down. So a little bit of glue on each of those. Stick your koalas on there. If you want to, you can do them at a sort of jaunty angle. I tended not to. I put mine fairly straight, but I have done ones before where I've done things at a jaunty angle, so you could kind of have them looking like they're dancing. So like that. But I quite like just a little straight row of mine. And that's it. There's my 2 cards, almost exactly the same. Very unlike me to do them all like that, do them all the same. He's a bit wobbly. While the Tombo's still drying, you can make sure and just close it up to make sure that they do close and they're not catching anywhere. But that's it for today. That's my project. I hope you've enjoyed it. Like I say, I'm sorry it's a slightly longer video if you're used to watching my quite brief ones. It won't always be a longer one, but today we just needed a little bit more time. So thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.